Out here, the road ends in water. Ocracoke is remote, raw, and exposed, a place you can only reach by ferry. It's an island with a heartbeat called Silver Lake, where storms, stories, and traditions collide. Join me as we dive into history, resilience, and beauty of Ocracoke Island, a world apart on the edge of the Atlantic. So currently here on Hatteras Island, getting ready to take the ferry over to Ocracoke, and just wanted to give you a little bit of a view of the map and what that looks like. So let's take a look. So we've made our way down on the Outer Banks. It was previously a Nag's Head, so right about up in this area here, rode out to Wanchese, and we've now made our way down Highway 12, made our way through Avon, Buxton, Frisco, and we're currently right here and ready to take the Ocracoke Ferry over to Ocracoke Island. So again, continuation of Highway 12, getting out to Ocracoke, and right here is also an area called Silver Lake. So looking forward to that, going to do a little exploring here in Ocracoke, and then coming up on Monday, Labor Day, we'll take the Cedar Island ferry here. This is about a 2.5-hour ferry getting over to Cedar Island, and then starting to make our way down further south. We'll go to Morehead City and Wilmington and make our way. I just spoke with the gentleman with the ferry just a minute ago, and he indicated that between now and 2 o'clock, so the next hour and a half, that there are going to be 3 separate ferries that are going to be coming and loading. So I'm in one of the lines over here to my left, and basically you'll load up here on the ramps and make your way over to Ocracoke. The last time I was here was in 2018 on my motorcycle, and made a loop around Blue Ridge Parkway and Outer Banks, and stayed in Nag's Head for a day or two, and then made my way on over to Ocracoke, Cedar Ferry, and then Highway 17 on down to Charleston area. So you can see we've got everybody lined up here waiting. Of what that looks like. Get an idea of basically all the cars and little observation platform up there. And here we got the front of the ferry making the crossing over. And the ferry basically can go in either direction. You see the navigation buoy there on the left. You can see the shallow area right out in front of us, and working our way around to the navigation buoy over here on the right-hand side. And then we'll make our way on around. You see one ferry straight ahead of us and another ferry over there on the left-hand side. Actually, not too bad up here. Wind is kind of down. Looks like they've got right out there some parasailing going on. And you see, just due to some of the shallow areas, how they really have to. Right now, we're probably heading almost north to stay in the channel, and then loop our way on around to eventually get up there in the southern area where Ocracoke Island is. Get a good view of Hatteras Island there. There's the Jeepster. There's the Jeep down there lined up. Also get a pretty good idea of the number of cars. The way the ferry is, there's a very narrow section that has all the mechanical, electrical in it, and then there's 3 rows on the right-hand side and then 1 row on the left-hand side. Currently located here on the ferry, going from Hatteras Island south over to Ocracoke. I hope you can hear me. The ferry's a little bit loud with the engine, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me. But anyway, fantastic ride. It is a fairly shallow area out here, but it's free. First come, first serve, and as you could see from the lineup there, they put you in priority lanes, and then they basically load in that direction. On the ferry right now, I would say there's probably 25 to 28 vehicles, and all depends. There are some vehicles that have trailers, and of course it depends on the size, and motorcycles, et cetera, but let's say somewhere between 20 and 30 vehicles are on the ferry. And it's run by the North Carolina ferry system, very efficiently run. It runs basically about every half hour between Hatteras and Ocracoke. At the center of Ocracoke, there's Silver Lake. Call it a harbor, call it a lagoon, but really it's the town's pulse. Boats come and go, ferries grind in, fishermen haul back after long nights. Every road, every path here bends toward the water. Silver Lake isn't some postcard backdrop. It's the reason Ocracoke exists, the anchor that keeps this island from drifting off into myth. Hey, I'm Duncan, and I grew up not too far from here. I'm currently on the Outer Banks of North Carolina in the remote town of Ocracoke Island, North Carolina. Ocracoke is really on the southern edge of the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and I grew up in Kill Devil Hills and actually been here several times while I was growing up. Was in a program called Youth Conservation Corps years and years ago, which was a offshoot of the Civilian Conservation Corps. Many of you may know that, and one of the projects that we did was here on Ocracoke Island, working on the pony pens, the wild ponies of Ocracoke, legendary wild ponies, here again. And I'm currently at the Ocracoke Lighthouse and visiting this remote place, and it's always so great to come back and experience the local culture here in Ocracoke Island. So Ocracoke is certainly remote, rough around the edges. It's got its own unique culture, and one of the things here in Ocracoke Island is certainly the exposure that they have to all of the storms and the weather. We've just had Hurricane Aaron that's just passed just east of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So the good news is there was no direct hit, there was no impact to Ocracoke or the Outer Banks. But the bad news is certainly there was a full evacuation of Dare County, North Carolina. There was lots of wind and rain and other impacts, but nothing that a little bit of time won't help take care of. Ocracoke Island is a desolate place, a remote place. To get here, you have to take a ferry, either from the Outer Banks coming south or from Cedar Island going north. But either way, in order to get here, you need to take a ferry. It's a great ride and a very remote and desolate place. Certainly a little bit rough around the edges, but behind me is one of the icons of Ocracoke Island, and that is the Ocracoke Lighthouse. Life on Ocracoke Island has always been about adaptation, about the weather, about the culture, boat building, and storytelling. The dialect on Ocracoke Island is like no other. It was even famous when I was growing up in Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, and they call them the Hoy Toiters. I'm probably going to get the accent completely wrong, so please bear with me. But it's a mixture of slang, sailors, vocabulary, and time. And one of the famous sayings that I always remember and repeat even to this day is, of course, on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, you have the ocean side and the sound side. And the famous saying was, and again, forgive me for my accent, was, when it's high tide on the ocean side, it's low tide on the sound side. And this is really something special with the culture, the tides, and the water that's ever present in this area. Ocracoke Island has been battered by storms time and time again. But this place has a resilience. It has a strength that comes from within, and it comes from time and culture that helps this place last year after year, storm after storm. This lighthouse stands watch year after year. This is one of the oldest operating lighthouses in the United States. It stands the test of time in the culture of what really this island stands for. A sentinel on the edge of the ocean, warning ships about impending danger. For me, standing here isn't just about culture. It's about remembering my roots. It's about remembering growing up in this place so many years ago. Tucked away on a quiet part of Ocracoke Island is a place that most people miss. It's a small plot of land beyond the cedar trees and the salt-battered cottages lies the British cemetery. 4 British sailors that never made it home. In May of 1942, the war came very close to this island of Ocracoke. British boats patrolled off the shore not too far from where we are at right now. One of those ships was the HMS Bedfordshire, a ship assigned to help protect the coast of the United States. It was unfortunately sank by the Germans. When it went down, all hands were lost. Days later, the bodies of 4 British sailors washed up on the shore of Ocracoke here. The people of this island, simple fishing families, they did what any respectful people would do. They gave those 4 sailors a proper burial here on Ocracoke. They built this little cemetery, flew the Union Jack, and they promised to take care of it forever. It's a small place, easy to overlook, but standing here, you feel the weight of it. You feel the price that they paid protecting our country. Every spring, there's memorial service here. Just a reminder that even on this remote part of the Outer Banks, that war can touch the sands. The connection between these 2 countries sealed in salt water and sacrifice. Ocracoke Island here. There is one ramp that goes all the way out, and just wanted to make a run out. Pretty windy day today. Overcast, I guess it's probably low 70s, so a little bit cooler than it has been the past days. But anyway, wanted to get out, see what things look like out here, and wanted to give you an impression of what it looks like all the way at the end of Ocracoke Island. So currently at the Porch restaurant here on Ocracoke Island. It's actually just right across the street from my hotel, and came recommended from 2 or 3 different people, so I thought I would try it. So let's see what it looks like. I got Oysters Casino, which I'm familiar with Clams Casino, so I assume that that's an Outer Banks twist on the traditional, and then also one of their seafood specials is main course. So let's see what that looks like. Again, for the appetizer, we have Oysters Casino. Look really good. Nice oysters are very nice size. Let's test one here. Looks like lots of cheese. Very good. Very tasty. Definitely tasting garlic. And I like the size of the oysters. They're really not too big. Sometimes oysters can become so big that you really can't handle them. These are pretty good. So just a little shot there of what that looks like. Those were delicious. That was the Oysters Casino, half a dozen. That was the appetizer portion. Really good, really enjoyed that. So in the meantime, the other kind of appetizer that I've ordered has arrived, and they call this seafood Saint Jacques. And it came out basically in this little carafe and baked, and so I did decide to get a little bit of bread with that. That looks pretty good if you can see that. Try to see if we can get the camera to focus on that. By the way, I got the house Riesling. It's good. I figured that would be a good pairing with the seafood. So I'm really enjoying this seafood Saint Jacques. I did order some bread to go with it, and really happy with it so far. Several large pieces of scallops and shrimp. I don't know, might be better with almost like a pita type bread or something like that. But the other thing with the bread is you can certainly sop up all the juice in here. Not bad. I've got to say, this seafood Saint Jacques is really good. Lots of scallops, crab meat, and shrimp, and really well prepared. Nice cheese over it. A little bit of spice finished off in the oven on the broiler. So it's really good. I'd recommend also getting the bread. I got a loaf of their house bread, and that's really nice to accompany the whole thing. Really good. So I got 2 appetizers. I got the Oysters Casino and the Seafood St. Jacques, and definitely recommend all of these. This is the back porch on Ocracoke Island, so if you're out this way on the Outer Banks, definitely recommend. As mentioned in the previous video, I've also created a Google My Map that I've shared in the description below that links places on the Outer Banks that I'll be visiting in the future videos. I think you'll like it. Out here, the road ends in water. Silver Lake, wide, calm, deceptively gentle. It's the harbor at the heart of Ocracoke, a mirror that catches the sky, a bowl that holds the comings and goings of an island, always half a step from being cut loose. The ferries slide in and out like clockwork, against the tide, engines humming, bearing groceries, gas, and tourists chasing sunsets. But they're more than ferries. They're lifelines, arteries pumping in what the island needs and carrying away what it cannot hold. Out here, you measure time by departures and arrivals, by the rattle of chains, by the slow rise of a ramp, the shuttle of cars and bikes spilling onto the dock. There's no bridges, no shortcuts. Without these boats, the place folds in on itself, a speck of sand and marsh, adrift in the Atlantic. And the Atlantic, it doesn't care. It howls when it wants, lashes the shoreline, sends storms barreling straight at this fragile strip of land. Ocracoke has always lived at the mercy of the wind and water, and the ferries are the gamble. The stubborn bet that connection is worth the risk. Watch long enough and you'll see the rhythm. The ferries wake, cutting silver scars across the lake. Gulls trailing salt, wind whipping in your face. It's not just transit, it's ritual. It's the island's breathing in and out. Maybe that's what Ocracoke teaches, that survival isn't about conquering the elements, but surrendering to them, learning to live with the uncertainty of tides and tempest. The ferries don't defy the ocean. They bow to it, rise its moods, and still show up day after day to keep this place alive. Silver Lake, Ocracoke, the ferries, they're not conveniences, they're symbols, proof that even on the edge of the map, where the land gives way to water and storms, reminds you of your fragility. Life persists, stubborn, exposed, beautiful. Ocracoke feels like its own universe. A little raw, a little wild, and completely unforgettable. That's what keeps bringing me back to places like this on the Outer Banks and Ocracoke Island. My time in Ocracoke is coming to an end. Tomorrow I'll take the ferry south from Ocracoke Island over to Cedar Island and start making my way south on Highway 17. But I've really enjoyed the time that I've spent here in Ocracoke. It's really quite unique and quite special. It's hard to believe with this beautiful weather that it was just a little over a week ago that the island had a mandatory evacuation due to Hurricane Erin. But that's all a distant memory now, just like the many hurricanes that have come through here in the past. This island is completely exposed to the wind and the waves and the weather, and somehow they survive storm after storm, year after year. And that's what keeps me coming back to this place as well. For me, being here is more than nostalgia. Yes, I grew up on the Outer Banks many years ago, but this place has a pull, almost like a magnetism that keeps drawing you back time after time. The last time I was here was in 2018, and I was on a big motorcycle trip through the Blue Ridge Parkway and then down the East Coast. And I spent a couple of days here. Seeing the Ocracoke Lighthouse just across Silver Lake here brings back lots of memories. If you're enjoying these adventures that I'm bringing you, this time from the Outer Banks of North Carolina, please give me a like and subscribe. Really helps my small channel grow more than you might realize. I'd also love to hear from you if you visited the Outer Banks in the past. What are some of your favorite memories? Maybe it's Kill Devil Hills, maybe it's Nag's Head, maybe it's Manio or Wanchese, or maybe it's Ocracoke like this. I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a comment below. Talk soon.